Hi, AT from CNC at Home. I have an interesting project that a friend of mine wanted me to do. A couple of years back, my friend Jeff passed away, and his widow has a couple urn boxes that she wants to put some of his ashes in. Let me put a picture right up here. This is kind of what the box looks like. Very plain. And she had an idea that she wanted to etch something on the top, or have me etch that with one of the lasers. She had a concept for that. She put together a little thing. Let me bring that picture up here. That's her concept. The problem is that's not going to burn really well or etch really well onto the wood. So I went looking for some better images. So this is what I found. Of all of these images, this is the one that kind of bubbled up to the top that I thought was the best, at least for this project. What I need to do is get this into Lightburn, add the text in, and maybe do a test burn first to see what that looks like. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Let's head over to Lightburn and see what we can do with this. In Lightburn, what I want to do is create a working area. So let's switch to a tool layer and make a rectangle. Do some random size. We'll unlock its aspect ratio. This particular box is 6 inches. I'll type in 6 inches. And the other dimension is 4 inches. And I normally work in metric when I'm doing Lightburn stuff, and Lightburn lets me key in inches if I want to, and it automatically converts it. Go ahead and take this rectangle, put it in the lower left-hand corner. I'll zoom in on it. I want to have an inner rectangle as well. Let's go ahead and duplicate. I'm going to do this from the center, so I change my location to center. And I'm going to make this a 1/4 inch smaller. So my width instead of 6 inches is now going to be 5.5 inches. Hit enter. And then now I have an inner rectangle that essentially is a 1/4 inch smaller. Although it doesn't look it. Going on here. Let me think about this for a second. I may have to undo my aspect ratio. Let me do this. 4.5. inches. Yeah, okay, how about 3.5 because I need to go smaller. Wow. Okay, brain's working now. That looks a little better. This is going to be my safe zone. The edge of the box has rounded corners on it, or rounded edges. So to make sure that I stay away from that, I'm just going to come back that 1/4 inch and everything should be good. I have gone ahead and created a computer library that has a bunch of computer monitor kind of setups on it. This flat panel side 01 is the one that I want to use. Now it is a little bit big, and that's fine. We'll deal with that. Let's go ahead and, again from the center, let's make that smaller. I'll go ahead and just let this thing get smaller until it's about the right size. About there. Maybe one more. All right, that looks good. So we're close here, and we're close here. That should be safe. So that's good. The next thing we want to do is get our text in here. I'll just go ahead and get the text typed in. And I want to have Jeff's name on there. So, and this is all going to be in caps. This is the way that his widow wanted it. So JFFREY. Let's get this on an actual burn layer. I'll do the blue layer for right now. Go. Get back to editing the text. And on the next line, he was born 31st. And paid May 7th, May 20. Go ahead and bring that down here. This is not the font that Naomi had wanted. She wanted it to be in this Lucida handwriting. Go ahead and get that changed over. And we'll get it rotated so that it kind of matches the orientation of that monitor a little bit. It's still on the large side, so let's go ahead and just shrink this a little bit. That looks about right. Now, it still doesn't look quite right, and that's because this monitor goes off at an angle. And so the bottom and the top lines that represent that aren't parallel, but they're supposed to be. And that's just a forced perspective, vanishing point, drawing artsy kind of thing. What we want to do is we want to update or change this text so that it does the same thing. I'm going to go under my tools and I'm going to select the warp selection 4 points. And what that does is it gives me a point on each corner. And I'm going to bring this top one down a little bit so that it seems to be parallel a little bit more with that top edge of the monitor. And do the same with the bottom, but bring that up so that it looks somewhat parallel to that bottom edge. I think I brought that top down just a little bit too much. So something about like that. What this does is it looks more as if it is on the monitor itself, and that's the look that we're going for. Now that we have that set, I'm going to go ahead and put that on my standard layer 1, and we'll come into our materials, and we're going to start with just plywood, brown, etch, assign. Hang on. Let's do this. Let's switch to the laser we're going to use. We're going to use that P7. Let's switch to that. Let's back in here. And then now let's look at our library. We want our plywood, brown, etch fill. We'll assign that. Everything is set. We should be able to go ahead and do a test burn. I will go over to the laser, get a piece of material in there, and see how it turns out. If it looks good, then we'll start or try to do the box. If it doesn't look good, we'll try a second test and see how that works. Once everything is all set, I will head over to Naomi's house and get my AtomStack P7 set up out on the deck at her house so it doesn't stink anything up when we're doing the burn, and see how that works. Let's head over to the laser, and we'll start out with a frame. As always, make sure the material's lined up, and then we'll burn this. Oh, I want to burn this out too. So let's take this outer box. We'll put that, I'm going to put that on the red layer, and that is going to be a line. I want that to output, and I want it to burn through. On the plywood, 3mm cut through. Let's go ahead and assign that so that this will cut through as well. So we'll get this etched, then we'll burn this outer part out. If we do a quick preview, we'll see that everything's here, and it's going to take just over 20 minutes to do the burn. Let's go ahead and send this off to the laser after we do a frame. That seemed a little light, so I'm going to change my parameters just a little bit. I'll keep it at 3000, but I'm going to up the power to 50%. And we'll just etch on the other side of what we just did and see how that turns out. Here's the setup over at Naomi's house. We're out on the deck. The AtomStack has its little risers on there. The sun is out and it's casting quite a few shadows, so we don't really see the burn too well. It did turn out fantastic. That turned out pretty well. Even though this was a remote burn, I was able to take the AtomStack P7 and the little risers for it that came with that and my small power strip, get that all set up on the table outside at Naomi's house. We went outside because that would have really stunk up her house if we had done that inside. You know, all the burning smell, that sort of stuff. It was a nice day, just a slight breeze. It was really nice outside to do that, and we could kind of see it do its burn and its etch. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like the content of our channel, think about subscribing, as that really helps us out. Enjoy doing your CNC at home projects. Oops.